Welcome. My name's Josh, and you just stepped inside my mind. If you're a human being, you probably love music as much as I do. Every person loves some sort of music. Some people might call it just a noise, or it's just sound, it's nothing. It's terrible. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about country, if I'm being honest. But that's besides the point. I love all kinds of music, and it's something I've always loved. And one genre that I've always loved was hip-hop. And there is a movement more than ever happening in hip-hop, especially this year. That movement is transparency. There are a good amount of artists right now speaking their hearts, which makes sense. An artist speaks their beliefs, ideas, and worldviews all the time. But we also can get bad art where we don't have any meaningful music. See, what I believe is good art, there has to be a sense of purpose in it, and there are questions asked in that art that hopefully promote all of us to think. An artist has ideas. They're planting seeds in all of us of what they believe, what they think, and how they perceive the world, just like a painter with a canvas. And there are so many artists I could talk about, and I really want to. That will be later.
And they just go on with their life. They telling me shut up, talk about it. Like I should just talk about Christ.
I really respect, relate, and love Lecrae. His music is different in every sense of the word, and I would say the biggest aspect in his music is his transparent nature and how all of his music reflects as such. Lecrae has always been transparent in his music. He's always spoken his heart. And where you see that the most out of all his albums is his 2014 album called Anomaly. He speaks about the good, the bad, and the ugly in his life, in his past, in his present. He has a song about pain that he's dealt with from being molested at a young age.
I remember back in the day, I was barely in the first grade. Got teeth missing, watching Tom and Jerry, trying to go outside so I could play. I was told to watch out for strangers, keep my eyes peeled for danger. Folks working late, I had a babysitter. I ain't about to sit here and name her. I was almost late when she came in late. Woke me up with a game to play. Did a few things that's hard to say. They told me to keep that secret safe. Now how a young boy's supposed to deal. I'm trying to act like it ain't real. Had my innocence just stripped from me, and I still don't know how to feel. And I'm wondering how to address it. Can't tell my family too messy, so I just embrace it. It's hard to face it, I'm too ashamed to confess it. So I kept it in and ain't speak. Didn't think it hit me so deep. So into it, I got promiscuous, and only God can help me get free.
One of my favorites that Lecrae has done, and probably my favorite song by him, is Fear.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
I honestly grow insecure as I get older. Cause even when you hot, there comes a day when you get colder. Comes a day when you slower. Time is taking its toll. 45 on the back of the jersey upon your soul. I'm scared of letting go. I don't know what the future holds. My nightmares are having nightmares. I'm quite scared of what's right and fair. How I fare in eternity. Will I hear well done when he's turning me? Will I hear you care too much about all this stuff that really don't matter?
Lecrae speaks about his fear about being a public figure in two cultures. He's afraid of losing his faith and turning his back away from God, but he also speaks about how he's afraid of how the world will perceive him, or how the world is perceiving him. It's a whole song about the fears that most people have, or by the very least one of them you can possibly relate to. Lecrae is just being honest, and every single album reflects that more and more.
1, 2, yeah, swing in the morning. We going, Lecrae.
Hey, listen, hey, look, Cole talk that college talk, Wayne talk gangs, JB talking money, man, and Ye talk fame. And people say I talk about the same old thing. The reason why I sound the same is cause the truth don't change. Look, people get it twisted like a lemon in the spirit. If I ain't talking killing, I must be talking about healing. Now I ain't talking about how Jesus gon' make me $1 million with my hands to the ceiling. I got that spiritual feeling, my head bowed down, my knees to the floor. Oh, you a Christian and you rap, that must be the way you flow. No.
Christians can a lot of times worry about how they are perceived. The people who don't have religion can still worry about how others think of them and asking themselves, will I be accepted? Lecrae's entire album Anomaly speaks about his problems that he's dealt with, his scars. Lecrae has had a good amount of success in the hip-hop community. He has had 3 Grammy nominations, won multiple awards that were not Grammys, but he did win Best Contemporary Christian Performance and Gospel Performance in 2014, as well as winning for Best Gospel Album for his last album. Not to mention that he got nominated for Best Rap Performance. Last year he dropped a single for his upcoming album. At the time didn't have a name, but now it is called All Things Work Together. And this is the first song, and this song, Lecrae is the most transparent. He talks about depression that he went through, his personal views and frustrations with the church and Christian culture, the issues that he has with his fans and audience that would condemn him because he spoke his mind. Lecrae spoke truth that people didn't want to hear. Lecrae wants to talk about anything that is truth. I mean, to a degree. It can be a slippery slope when politics are involved, especially if they are personal and emotional political views. But Lecrae doesn't care if it offends. He also does not attack others who disagree with his worldviews and political ideology. The song Can't Stop Me Now also talks about his struggle with doubting God.
Yeah, I was feeling hopeless. I just wanted it to end. People stealing money from me, man. I swear I thought that we was friends. And I was so depressed, I was such a mess, I couldn't shake it off. Another murder on the television, man, somebody go turn it off. I spoke my mind, I got attacked for it. Thought these people had my back, boy. Now they telling me I asked for it. I guess I'm just another black boy. And then they killed Tamir Rice, and they just go on with their life. They telling me shut up, talk about it, like I should just talk about Christ. But the truth is, I started to doubt God. I started to question my purpose. I started to act out. I ain't wanna sign another autograph or give a fake smile. Doctors told me that my man died, I almost had a breakdown.
Lecrae is a husband and a father of 3. And even Lecrae, who many people put on a pedestal, many Christians put him on a pedestal, and he was having suicidal thoughts. Many artists will speak about how they doubted God in the past, but we don't usually hear artists that speak about their doubt with God just this year. Lecrae even talks about how he questioned his purpose, which in turn brought him to acting out against Christian culture and even his fans. He says, I didn't want to give another autograph or give a fake smile. He talks about how he lost a good friend in a horrific car accident. And though other artists talk about loss, Lecrae is a tad different. Lecrae even admits that he was being arrogant and prideful at the end of the song. Lecrae doesn't want to categorize himself in a Christian artist category. He usually says he's an artist that happens to be Christian. And though a lot of Christians don't like this, I understand where he's coming from. I understand that that label puts him as an artist in a box. It would affect a broader audience not even wanting to listen to what he has to say. Because when we label something as Christian, most people who are not part of that belief will think the music is not good. And sadly, because Christian music's reputation, it's not very good. But it also will tell the audience that this is exclusively for this group, and if you aren't part of this group, you won't get anything out of it. Now, I know that logic to someone who is Christian doesn't make total sense, and you can disagree, but that is how the world usually reacts to quote-unquote Christian media. Now, Christian media can have its place, but is that really what media could and should be used for? I mean, if you have an avenue that influences, why just influence other Christians? Why not influence whoever wants to listen to what you have to say? Lecrae gives us pieces and moments of his life through his music, but unlike any other Christian artist, he doesn't say the name Jesus and talk about how much he loves God and how Jesus is his friend. That dialogue is there. It's in his old albums and it's in his new albums, but it's not exactly worded that way. But what speaks to me and most of the people that listen to his music is he's a Christian who proclaims he struggles. Lecrae recently said, I don't want to make music for Sunday. I make music for Monday through Sunday. What Lecrae means by this is he's talking about how his music isn't just gospel style or praise to God every song. His music wants to talk about everything, whether it's his worldview on race and black culture. Lecrae wants to speak about the blessings in his life. He wants to talk about what's affecting hip-hop culture and him personally. Lecrae believes he's an outsider, and he feels that way. He's an anomaly that doesn't fit in with regular Christian church people, but he also doesn't fit in with the quote-unquote world. I think a lot of us can relate to this in some way or another. Now Lecrae is speaking about how he's over other people's perspectives of him. He doesn't care. He wants to talk about everything, even if the church deems it taboo. Lecrae will be unashamed in what he believes. It's what makes Lecrae stand out. It shows he's human. With Lecrae, we see his turmoil. We see the humanity in him. And though his first couple albums were good, even great at points, they could be looked at as more religious and cliche. Even though I personally still like these albums, I'd rather listen to his latest stuff. Reason being is, when you're struggling, you don't want to hear how happy everyone is. You don't want to hear everyone doesn't struggle or how it's just easy. No, because you can't relate to that. No one can. Lecrae doesn't have rules of what he doesn't talk about. He'll speak about his struggles with lust, his failures, his doubts, and again, his fears. This isn't something you see in Christian artists, but it is what the Christian walk is. With Lecrae's music, anyone can get something out of it. Anyone can listen and feel like he's voicing what we want to voice, but don't know always how to put the feelings or thoughts we have into words. Lecrae is gifted in this, and he's passionate to be the voice for the voiceless. I don't think any artist can compare it to how relatable Lecrae is. There are plenty of artists that will say their heart on a topic or something they're passionate about, but they stray away from their personal struggles in their music. At least, not to the level Lecrae is. Lecrae is always uncomfortable. Lecrae is always vulnerable. And another quote he has said is, "Leaders lead in vulnerability." Lecrae has befriended a lot of artists. He's earned a lot of respect in the industry. And I believe he's the example of a man in the world, quote unquote, and not of it. But he speaks nothing like most artists we hear nowadays. And I like to preface that I love all kinds of music, and Christian music is not the only thing I listen to. But I digress. Christian culture hasn't liked Lecrae lately. Reason being is Lecrae doesn't fit the Christian artist label that they want him to be. He will talk about his worldviews that most Christians don't want to hear. And though Lecrae had some views I disagree with, I still want to understand, and I respect the fact that he's bold in what he believes. I see where he's coming from. Lecrae lately has also spoken about the legalistic Christian, the Christian that is a follower of Christ when it's convenient or to explain some miraculous thing that they just don't understand. And Lecrae has deemed this Ameri-Christianity. And what this is it's what the culture created, not always what the Bible says. It's more about how you're presented and not how you're living with Christ. You can't categorize Lecrae. He doesn't fit a box, and he doesn't do what everyone else is doing. And that's something I respect about him. He's truly an anomaly, and I hope he keeps his transparency always. I hope Lecrae continues to grow in his faith. Every time he puts out another album, I'm not only challenged, but inspired. And I think that's what good music should do. Lecrae's music should make you think. It should be relatable to you. It should inspire you. And most of all, it should speak truth, the one and only truth, even if it's not accepted by the world or by anyone else. If you're not listening to Lecrae, I suggest you should check him out. His music is good. It's different. His beats don't sound like everyone else's, but it's his message that speaks a lot of volume. And it's the questions that he asks that encompass his difference. This is what good art does. It challenges you. It asks questions, but it's also honest and transparent. I don't see a fake persona in Lecrae. I've been listening and watching this guy since the beginning. And what I see is an honest and vulnerable man. And he is striving to live for Christ and speak to everybody about the gospel and what Christ has done in his life. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and honest as he is. But Lecrae is unashamed in everything, and God has made him an avenue and influence, and I believe he's using that to reach others as well as glorifying God. I can't wait for Lecrae's upcoming album. He's finally ignored the critics who don't know him or know his intentions. He has finally decided to be who God created him to be, and that is an anomaly. To all the people who think Lecrae is sold out or a wolf in sheep's clothing, I ask you, look at his fruit. A bad tree cannot produce good fruit continually. And if you ask me, I'm not seeing a lot of bad fruit. But I guess there will always be people who disagree with your mission and how you execute it, because everyone has their own perception of how it should be done. But at the end of the day, Lecrae knows who he is, and he's unashamed to be him. He's unashamed to speak on anything. He's truly unashamed to be trans